Thank you for joining us for this edition of David's Question of the Week, presented by NM Fiber Network. As New Mexico's statewide middle-mile backbone, we're committed to keeping you informed about the technologies, opportunities, and challenges shaping connectivity. Here's this week's question.
To segue from what we just talked about, when we talk about broadband infrastructure, from a community standpoint, it's important that we do understand what that means. Why? Because that impacts the timeline. Right-of-ways, permitting are part of that infrastructure. Means that will add time before a company can get shoveled to the ground. We're looking at, unfortunately, and this isn't by design, by no means is this any one department's or any one administration's failure. This is just the way it's been done for so long. And now that we're moving, literally, pun intended, at the speed of light, trying to get our connections across this great nation to happen, we've moved, fiscally speaking, heaven and earth to get that BEAD grant out to the states. And now that we're there, everybody rightfully wants to know, when are we getting this product? Like when you order something from Amazon that you really want, that you keep checking and tracking, right? When is it going to get here? When is it going to get here? It's the same thing with broadband infrastructure. And the problem is there is all these hurdles that we have to cover. And I'm going to share probably an extreme view here, or an extreme example of one of those. But there's been Reconnect 2, Reconnect 3, Reconnect 4, 5, BEAD grant. There's a lot of infrastructure, broadband infrastructure grants that have been awarded that have yet to have shovel in the ground for 3 years. And that's the challenge that us as cooperatives, especially here in New Mexico, but this story is repeated throughout the nation, other cooperatives throughout the United States. The problem isn't that we don't want to get the fiber in the ground, or that it's too hard, or that logistics are impossible. The problem a lot of times is within the permitting, and whether it's manpower at the federal level or the state level, or whether it's existing laws and existing rules, the rulemaking process, or existing governance or regulatory factors that are influencing this. At the end of the day, from a cooperative to a customer standpoint, we're looking at our customers and our communities saying, hey, I know we got this grant 3 years ago. I signed an easement. A lot of times customers will need to sign an easement to allow us to, for example, bore fiber from the alley to their home. And they'll be wondering, where's my service? And here we are 3 years later, and we're still trying to make that happen. That's the hard part. There isn't a timeline for everybody that we can all hang our hat on and say, yes, this is about how long it's going to take from we receive the grant to when you have internet at your house. And it's because of these issues. Now, are there some programs that we've received, that we've completed that buck that trend? Obviously, that was an extreme case. That's an outlier that I'm sharing with you, but it can get that long, and it has gotten that long. And LECO, as a cooperative, has experienced with construction taking that long, unfortunately. So anything we can do at the regulatory level, the federal level, the state level, to help ease that burden, because there is a significant oversight into broadband construction. For example, our 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗄, and those are all acronyms that coincide with any type of review that's for environmental review that we have to go through to get approvals, so that everybody that is responsible for the oversight can say, hey, these folks that are trenching down this mile of road are okay to do that because we reviewed it. The soil sampling, the environmental impacts have come back. There's no major archaeological finds, that they've come back with. All these things have come back clean, and the provider or the grantee, ourselves, for example, in this case, the broadband provider, is now okay to proceed with construction. Those are all good things to have and to know. I mean, we don't want to impact our environment in any way that's negative, because we're about our community. Why would we want to hurt our communities by impacting it negatively? So we do feel, I personally feel, that this is a good thing to have, this oversight. It's just, it's now taken on way too long. And with the advent of all these, I keep saying BEAD, but that's important, being pushed out to the states, If the choke point, or if the obstacle, the thing that's holding us back is at the federal level and it's because of manpower, for example, again, this doesn't cut across any political divide or anything. If it's due to just simple manpower or expertise, there's only so many people perhaps that are in charge of that oversight, then that's perhaps why we're seeing this bottleneck or these timelines extend from what common sense would dictate, 6 months or so before we get all our review process done, 9 months on the outside. Once we get that, when the shovel hits the ground, most cooperatives and most construction companies are geared up to the point where they're quote unquote chomping at the bit, to get going. These contractors don't get paid until the product is done. We won't get service to a customer until the product is done. So everybody is incentivized to, once we get that permit, to just start blowing and going, is the saying. And we do just that. In some cases, just within mere months, we complete a project that has taken up, the lion's share of the time has been taken up in process and reviews and trying to get permitting completed. So that's a long answer to a very simple question. How long will it be before I get fiber to my house? But unfortunately, that's all the things that have to happen before we can confidently say we're ready to get fiber to this home or to this area.
Connection fuels opportunity. And at NM Fiber Network, we're building the backbone that makes that possible. Thanks for joining us for David's Question of the Week. Till next time, stay connected, stay curious, and for more information, go now to nmfibernetwork.com.